So, been a pretty frantic week this week, and I'm really glad to have a catch up session with y'all. So, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm just waiting for the live stream to. Oh, now it's live. Welcome, guys, back, guys, to Box Mining. Today we have a Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and coronavirus update. Not too much on the coronavirus front. I'll just be upfront and honest with you guys. I think that's been going along the way, and I'm just glad we're almost at the end here in Hong Kong. But on the crypto side, there's actually quite a lot of stuff going on. Like Bitcoin is still trying to be a little bit undecided. So yesterday we had a big arrow going down. We dropped down to 9,000 almost. So we might see some 8,000s popping up very soon. So the meme's not over yet. The over 9,000 meme, we can still maybe bring that back for one more time. I'll talk a little bit about the prospects and what I've been thinking in this video. We've also had a lot of drama in the cryptocurrency front too, especially with relation to Steemit. Yeah, that social media platform has been getting a lot of drama after a takeover by Justin Sun. So I've been reading a lot about that in this whole week. There was almost like a thriller associated to that. There were people trying to counter hack Justin Sun, and that failed. Anyways, I'll talk a little bit about what is going on right now. But before we start, guys, make sure you do smash up the likes. But for those coming in, I do know that YouTube, they've been a little bit nasty with us. They've been shadow banning a lot of this channel, a lot of this crypto content because it's sensitive and because I don't know. YouTube, all of us in the cryptocurrency space, we've been struggling really hard trying to figure out what the hell is happening with YouTube. So, whilst you're here, guys, make sure you smash up the likes. And whilst we're at it, what we're going to do very early is we're going to set up next stream as well. Because, yeah, apparently a lot of people haven't been getting their notifications recently. So, the best way to actually be on these live streams is to actually set up the next live stream. So, let me just do that right now. But we are going to persevere, guys. We are not going to give up. This is just YouTube doing its stuff. Ironically, the other YouTube channels that are scamming people, doing these free giveaways, they've been getting attention. So I don't know, man. You just have to buy apparently 100K likes, and that's how apparently this whole space works. I don't know. YouTube's very, very wonky. So guys, do smash up the likes. Once you're coming in, do smash up the likes. It does really, really help the channel. Those things do matter. It's our way to fight the craziness, which is YouTube's shadow ban censorship. So let me put the live stream up here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what is happening with everything and more today. So let's get those likes up, and let me get this on. It's just YouTube. I'm waiting for the next new stream to go up. We got Philip Nevin says it's coronavirus that gets you censored. Yeah, maybe I should just drop that. There's nothing much going on anyways, huh? Apparently coronavirus censorship is. So I got the two biggest censorships here. We got coronavirus censorship and we got crypto censorship going on. So let's see. We got Poa JRE, I moved to Spotify for 1 or 200 million. I'm actually gonna get my podcast back online. I was doing the podcast for a bit early on this year, but the problem with the podcast was like getting the audio from this YouTube for some reason. Like sometimes YouTube screws up and doesn't give me the audio at all, so I couldn't rip the audio, which screwed up my podcast. But anyways, I'm actually a little bit more diligent on this, getting the podcast back up and getting all these multiple kind of mediums. We saw this crazy bans. I mean, some people on YouTube are still banned from this. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just insanity. So guys, do smash up the likes, do be there. So let's just take a very quick look at the market for now, just in the time being. So in the last 24 hours, we did see a dump on Bitcoin. So 24 hours here, you see 5% drop Bitcoin, 5% drop Ethereum. It just seems to be around the board that we are dropping, taking a little bit of a dip, taking a little bit of nosedive to the $9,000 region. Good news here is that the bleed out stopped at 9,000. So instead of going further out, we did see some kind of resistance to that in the 1 hour mark, especially here. We tried. You see the bears tried to take over. They dropped the price down to 8,800, and then the bulls pushed it back up, signifying that there is resistance there, which we're not gonna let 9K fall without a fight right here. And it's also very interesting on the other side too. So if 9K is, we've seen some resistance, we can probably see some more resistance at what I'm marking here is around 8K, 8.3K. But we also see a lot of resistance at the 10K mark as well. So we see the resistance coming in every time we try to move beyond $10,000 for the price of Bitcoin, we just get smashed back down. And right now, for the time being, we're trying to go into the 8,000 range. We see that support coming back in and being quite strong. So very, very interesting dynamic. We're still within this channel that I drew up here. So ever since May, the start of May, in the short term, we're in this channel. We're kind of bouncing between 8.4K to 10K. Very, very interesting range right here, because obviously this had a lot of information too. So we had the end of the halving hype, and that didn't trigger off a major sell-off, which I'm really, really proud of. I think that's actually very, very good sign, because obviously moving towards the halving, we had a lot of hype, and usually what happens with crypto is, you buy the hype and you sell the news, right? And here in this case, there was a lot of fear, but when the halving came and the halving passed, the train entered the station, we just successfully sail past. We're in that good zone right now. So that's given me a little bit of optimism. So whilst we're in that channel right here, this is actually pretty good. But at the same time, I do expect some action to happen to break us out of this channel. I don't foresee us staying in this channel forever. I mean, we see kind of two opposing viewpoints right now, and though some people are very optimistic, so pushing towards 12K, 14K. I'm not too optimistic until we get more momentum, in the sense of more people coming into the space, more new players coming in, kind of having the signs, the kind of the true signs that people are coming into the space, because that's the key, man. That's the key. So something that I've been looking at for a long time was, of course, Google Trends, people searching for the word Bitcoin. We saw that go up. So recently we did see that up peak up there. But if you look at it, let me switch to worldwide as well. Google defaults to US only. But worldwide interest, we want to see that increase, because that's exactly what happened in 2017. So moving up here, increased interest, more people coming in. We saw almost more of that. But of course, recently, because the hype wave is over, because price changes haven't been that intense, of course, we're losing a little bit of momentum. But what I do have to say, of course, is that in the long term, with the money printer going like that, we have so much kind of long-term pressure to force us into Bitcoin, and to force people to kind of reconsider what the hell is cash. So in that state right now, we are kind of looking at this kind of long-term. So some people are thinking can go up there. There's definitely a fear still of going down. And the fear of going down, if you just look at it in the very, very long run, so if you just move out to the 1 day line, you can see that we're still on the kind of the top of this channel. So we've been kind of in a descending wedge for a while. So people are fearful that it could drop all the way down to 3,000, to drop into the bottom. So this is where the fear is coming in right now. So yes, it could break out. It could, okay, if we're trying to push very hard, if we can actually break that resistance at 10K, and if more support is being shown here, yes, that could be good. But at the same time, yeah, there's a risk here that we can fall all the way down to 3K as well, which is what's getting a lot of people excited too. I think there's a lot of excitement in that area where people are like, oh my God, I want to buy some cheap Bitcoin. And I see that a lot in our discussion group on Telegram. So if you guys want to join us on our Telegram discussion group, feel free to join us ahead. We got a lot of bears there, but I think it's also a good it's also good. The discussion in our channel is actually getting really intense sometimes. And what's good is that we see both sides of the picture, whether it's positive or negative. And I think I want to bring up this view about trading and kind of why I'm a little bit more into trading recently. And I think uh, this is a good discussion to have, and this is something I'll bring up more because so this became trending on r/cryptocurrency, and it's like quit trading on leverage exchanges. Here's why: BitMEX and other leverage crypto exchanges are creating massive sell pressure on BTC. Bob goes 10x long, Joe goes 10x short. BitMEX keeps the transaction fees in BTC for both of these trades. And I want to say, when you do 10x leverage trading, they take a percentage based on the leveraged amount, so the total amount of trade. So that's kind of insane. So they essentially, if you go 10x, they 10x their fees too, which is why these leverage trades in platforms are making so much money. Because if you just put a simple $1,000 in, you do 10x, that's 10,000, and they get the $10,000 of fees. So taxing percentage wise. They turn around and sell that BTC for fiat for sure. They gotta pay their staff, they gotta pay their employees. Trading on these exchanges is creating massive sell pressure on BTC. The more activity, the more sell pressure that BTC will see, meaning BTC will go down when leverage trading activity increases significantly. If this isn't good enough, then maybe consider staying away for the simple fact of ledger traders getting wrecked on both sides. Really, 100x leverage? Do you live in reality? Get the fuck out of here. Please use common sense. And for all you shows on YouTube peddling your leverage trades exchanges, I hope you get what you deserve. People, think for yourself. Don't get lured in and feel like you're part of something, some special club because of these losers on YouTube trying to indirectly take advantage of you. Please don't give a they don't give a crap about you, and they just want to pad their pockets at your expense. Okay, cheers. Actually, I should have just put that there for you guys to read. But I actually think this is actually a pretty interesting discussion, and I've been on both sides of the coin for a while. So for the whole of last year, I did not want to touch leverage trading. All right, and that's exactly the viewpoint I wanted. I saw every other YouTuber. I saw like Ivan Take, like some like I don't know, I think Zombie or something. They're all showing this Bybit platform. Everyone was jumping on Bybit. Oh my god, Bybit. Oh, it's the best. Okay, you can leverage 100x, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, this is not the right way to do it, especially if you want to dumb down leverage trading. It's like you got to take it with sophistication, right? And at that time, I didn't fully speak against it because at the same time, I knew that a lot of professionals, a lot of miners, in fact, they actually use leverage trading platforms to protect their positions. So that's kind of the balance, right? You see some professional traders they're succeeding, but at the same time, going into the mass market, the whole YouTube space, that was dangerous. So I took that viewpoint, and it wasn't until my reverse indicators were all freaking out about leverage exchanges. So that's my biggest confession. I have reverse indicators where usually when they say something, you should do the reverse. So I know some traders where when they get hyped up, you should definitely be worried. It's like kind of like when a taxi driver tells you about Bitcoin, that's when you should be a little bit worried. That's a common joke in Wall Street. And when the taxi driver gives you stock market tips, that's when you should exit the market. So yeah, so when my reverse indicators started talking about leverage trading, I was like, I think this is being too one-sided, and this is when I spent some time, especially in Hong Kong, where a lot of these platforms, ironically, are based, um, where you kind of find out the whole ecosystem. So what's happening right now is that there's a lot of crypto algo funds in crypto which are making a lot of money. But by a lot, I mean like maybe 30% per year, 50% per year, max like 80 to 100. So it's not like you're going to immediately go to the moon. So even these funds that are making money and that are substantially making money on trades, they're taking advantage of very kind of very opportune moments. They're not going for every single trade, and they're not dreaming of massive profits. And I think that's kind of the key here. So the people who are using this right, they're not dreaming of massive gains, not doing these 100x's. 100x's, I definitely view that as just pure gambling. Bitcoin moves up 1%, you can lose everything, or we can Bitcoin moves up 1%, you double everything. So it becomes really double or nothing. But at the same time, what I do see is that in terms of the professional space, there's a lot going on, especially if you just look at skew. This is something that a lot of people are looking at in terms of where the trade sentiment lies. So, which is actually quite interesting how much interest there are. And in fact, in terms of billions of dollars, how much interest there are in every single exchange, be it Huobi, BitMEX, Binance, Bybit, or Deribit, and also where that is skewed, because that is going to drastically affect our markets. Because we definitely saw in crypto, there were a lot of squeezes, whether it's a short squeeze or a long squeeze, people in leverage positions being forced out of their position. So this is something that I feel like um, to get the full picture of, it's definitely something we cannot eliminate. I think it's like you go to kind of Wall Street and say, yo, let's eliminate futures trading. They're just going to laugh you out. But so it's something to be aware of for the average person. And I definitely feel like looking at the data on something like skew becomes rather important to see how much kind of pressure is building up on the system. If you have a huge kind of like a buildup of longs or shorts, then you could be in the risk of a squeeze that can drastically affect the price. So this is where you want to be paying attention to. So now I'm not saying you should trade, okay? Just pay attention to whether it's on skew, whether it's on data collection, whether it's knowing what the hell is happening. This is where you need to pay attention because that could drastically affect the short term. But more in the long term, what you want to do is if you really want to be in that trading position, if you're really a professional, then sure, I think there's a whole ecosystem of it out there. So anyway, that's kind of me balancing it out. I think for the general person, we kind of have to realize that the world, you can't change the world. All right, you can't change the fact that there's going to be futures trading, but at the same time, you have to kind of realize, okay, what is happening, what's the buildup happening, understanding this data. And I think for the longest time, I stuck my head in the sand too much and saying, okay, I don't want to understand this, but you got to understand this. And then at the end of the day, make your decisions with that this full data in mind. So anyways, that's kind of the case. Just looking at the the chat and crack. You can't trade when you do crack, dude. That's the opposite of what you do. Like, yeah, it's when it comes to like all the pros here in Hong Kong, like and something I wanted to point out was this, right? So there's a lot of algo funds in Hong Kong, and that's being a finance center, we see that that kind of bleed out between these two fields. So whether it is the algorithmic trading side that have been in algo trading for 10, 20 years in traditional markets coming into crypto, we see that as well. So we see kind of like all the finance guys come here, and it's very interesting. If you go to any party, you see the OG crypto guys with the beards and like uh with their visions, and then you see the kind of OG finance guys with the suits come in, and it's very very interesting dynamic in the cryptocurrency space. So that leads on to crypto hedge funds and discussions. We see these topics pop up. Crypto hedge funds are performing better that crypto funds are performing better than traditional hedge funds. This is a very interesting topic as well because I do see there's a lot of bias here in that data that we collect because unfortunately in 2018 a lot of funds they kind of just met their due, met their end. So there's a lot of crypto funds we don't hear about anymore, and yeah, they get eliminated from the data set. So I think right now, like putting these articles out, it shows that our data collection is not great enough. I think the crypto space, we took a huge hit and we still haven't fully recovered. So even though they said, yeah, we took a hit near the end of 2020, 2017, yeah, the data is kind of still skewed. So I'll take that with a grain of salt, and I'll see something that's happening with the finance guys is that all the successful finance guys are showing up. So now we're kind of skewed towards that direction, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that we'll always go towards that direction. I have okay, so we have WT saying I have bots that run cycle whale tactics. You watch the different trades and you can identify who is active personality types. That's actually pretty cool. Actually, that's actually pretty cool. Um, Marshall P says really great question. At Box Mining just started watching today. Maybe you covered this. Are you leaving Hong Kong if democracy dies there? Oh man, that's a really good question. I'm actually really still optimistic about the situation in Hong Kong. I think when you're in a situation, it always seems worse than it is. I know there's a lot going on, and I know like a lot of people are upset over a lot of things, whether it is legislators not being allowed to vote. That's the latest thing that's happening right now, and but even before that, of course, Hong Kong protests and you see China taking over essentially. So I still want to remain on the hopeful front to say that Hong Kong has a lot of value being the way it is right now. So I would say that there probably could be a much stronger pushback. Right now, it doesn't seem like it. Right now, it does seem quite hopeless, and I think it's like that the anger is in the air. But I'm still quite hopeful that once that kind of initial wave comes over, I think people will start waking up to the fact that Hong Kong's role has to be somewhere special. And that specialness comes from being more democratic, being in our own kind of ecosystem. That's my take on it. So we got Nick Mayo says, "Damn, missed half the show when Lambo manufacturer." um, yeah, thanks, Nick, for coming back in. So yeah, so we've been having a lot of issues with YouTube recently. So if you guys can, make sure you guys smash up the likes. I know a lot of people come back in and like, oh my god, um, it's weird. This YouTube thing is weird. So yeah, I do feel like the negativity, like especially if you look at the whole coronavirus situation. At the start, when it was actually most important, um no one covered coronavirus. It's like everyone was like treating it as like a joke, and it was only on this channel that we actually did cover it because obviously um it was important. And then now it's like it seems like what when we're in the depths of this, it's like just crapshoot insanity. And I see that similar to what's happening in Hong Kong as well. You see the super negative media coverage. So I'm staying away from the mainstream media on this. I'm just gonna get taking a little bit back and saying, look, Hong Kong, for us to prosper, for the entire city to prosper, we got to be in a special position. And we've been in a special position for such a long time too. Hong Kong has always been that kind of like entry gateway to China. And especially now that there is that China-US war, Hong Kong has a really strong role to play in the future of that as well. So my 2 cents is that, yeah, I don't think anyone wants Hong Kong to be different, if you see what I mean. I don't know. You can also take the super negative view or a super ironic view, which is Chinese people always need Hong Kong to be a way to store money that's outside of China. And with that, Hong Kong needs to keep its system different, separate. So like Chinese will try to I mean, okay, people view it very negatively. People try to a lot of Chinese people need to store money here, so they can't store it in London, they can't store it in New York, they need to store it in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong needs to be separate. If Hong Kong was completely changed, like no democracy, nothing, yeah, fun times ahead. I don't see that completely happening either. So, anyways, that's my take on everything here. So, in terms of the crypto markets, I see right now we could potentially still be stuck in this kind of little range for a while, whilst we try to figure out kind of how to get more people onto the crypto bandwagon. Final story of the day. So I think today is more about story time than anything else. But yesterday I was getting photos taken, so I finally wanted like photos that are decent looking. So the photographer actually got into Bitcoin, and he got introduced to Bitcoin, but he never got into it, if you can feel what I mean. He always feels scared. And I think that's something that's happening with the general public too, is that there's this misconception, oh, Bitcoin's used for scams, or Bitcoin's used for crime, or Bitcoin has no liquidity. Um That's actually a big misconception too. People think, oh yeah, it's worth $9,000, but I can't cash it out. Guys, there's like billions of dollars of futures contracts, billions of dollars of trade volume going on. So that's definitely not the case. Um, I think like I think there's a big misconception there that it's hard to exchange for Bitcoin. A lot of people don't know where to look at the start, and this is where I think a lot of Bitcoin centers come in, and where I'm actually quite spending quite a lot of my time trying to help the Bitcoin center here, the Genesis Block Center. And I've seen a lot of Bitcoin centers around the world, be it in Vienna, there's one nice one there, and these places actually get people to know the system better. They can understand, oh, they can complete a trade just immediately, and they can even SMS, not even SMS, WhatsApp a trade in and lock in a certain price, etc. I think these are elements that need to slowly shape up, and this is something that we're slowly get to. So having more Bitcoin centers, having more kind of positive PR on the situation, that's where it goes. So WT asked a good question. So thank you so much for your $5 donations. Are you plan to stay in Hong Kong if things get worse? So to answer the question, I don't really think things are gonna get that worse, and I think for now, for the time being, stay in Hong Kong. I don't think it's I don't see it getting that much worse. I think like I'm just much more hopeful. Maybe I'm just more hopeful. I don't. And mainstream media makes it sound worse than it is, and I think Hong Kong is in the phase of solving problems. Like, yeah, that's my 2 cents. Like, yeah, I take a weird stance too. I think like it's good for Hong Kong's like people to actually realize how important their position democracy is right now, and that's important. Um, Nick Miles says the main BTC problem is still volatility. I agree, but at the same time, some people love the volatility. I mean, these guys, trading in futures, they love this volatility. I mean, I think for mainstream, yes. For mainstream, a lot of my friends won't get into Bitcoin because of the volatility. And ironically, the Chinese, right? The Chinese who need to have a form of currency that's decentralized, they're choosing to use USDT rather than Bitcoin. So that's why you see millions of dollars of Tether being printed each day. The Chinese are actually buying that up. And I have reliable sources that point to me that that activity is happening quite strongly. So they want something less. So there's a certain population that definitely wants something much less volatile. So if they can keep it, store it, and use it or transfer it, and whilst using it, they're not subjected to that price fluctuation, then yes, I think for general public, that's one big hurdle to come. But I don't think we can cross that soon though. I don't really foresee us crossing that soon until Bitcoin becomes used as an actual currency, and that I think might take 20, 30 years. So until then, we have all these impure solutions like the stable coins built either by a centralized entity, which is the worst case scenario, or built by decentralized entities, which we're still in the testing phase. Still in the testing phase. So at this current point, yeah, it's gonna be hard. But I think there's a lot more attention. I actually think like if you actually go and just go around and talk to people about Bitcoin now, they have a general understanding of what it is. They have misconceptions that you need to correct, but they have a general understanding of what it is. And I think that's so much further. If you watch the development of Bitcoin from 2012 till now, you'll see a huge difference. And then that's where the optimism is coming in. And a lot of people think it's going to drop to zero. And I can promise you, Bitcoin will never drop to zero. Like Peter Schiff is delusional. The matter of fact is that there's so many billionaires right now in crypto already that would just soup up any Bitcoin that's under 1,000. If it goes to 100, man, like you can just see immense buy pressure from those people there. There's definitely more than $1 billion floating around in Bitcoin, and that's why it's not going to go to zero. It could drop, all right. It could drop to a smaller amount, like 1,000 or something, but I don't ever see it going, below 1,000. I think that's just a joke at this current point. It's people have actually realized the core value of Bitcoin, and I think that's the kind of the state we're in now. The people who understand Bitcoin understand that the core role that it's going to play is irreplaceable. The fact is that we need a form of value that we can move around the world without any government intervention, without being seized. These are properties that are immensely important and also unique to Bitcoin as well. And I think that's the power of Bitcoin that we see there. So, mm, what's the spread on transactions? How much trade cash to Bitcoin and cash back again? And I think that is an issue as well. I mean, um, sometimes, especially for new players coming in and trying to buy Bitcoin, they're gonna get paying transaction fees. We've seen even if you want to buy Bitcoin on Binance, you're gonna have to pay transaction fees. And a lot of ATMs they charge higher fees just because of volatility and dealing with local people. So yeah, that entry might be a 10% or maybe 5%, and that's quite a lot. So I think these are things that we have to tackle over time. So at the end of the day, it does take a while. So WT, you create shell companies to move credit cards and recycle points, 1.2% transaction fees. I mean, OTCs charge far less than that. So if you have a proper KYC account on OTC, that's why they go for it. Yeah, the fees are much less than that. But the issue, of course, is getting the KYC. Like, not everyone wants to put their passport information in. Like, oh my god, passports, utility bills. Oh my god, it's so scary. But that's the legit way of doing it, and I do not recommend doing full peer-to-peer because right now, we've seen quite a lot of people just like if you do peer-to-peer and the opposing side doesn't do KYC, that also means that he doesn't KYC anyone. So the coins that he has a potential of being kind of black market coins, and that's the risk of it. So you definitely want to find someone that's reputable in that case. So yeah, I think that's kind of the session today. I definitely appreciate everyone coming in during this time as well. We have kind of like, oh yeah, I do have one more thing I want to talk about, which is what happened to Steam. Oh god, oh god, this is the funniest stuff in the world. So, so you guys know Steemit has gone under a little bit of issues, and the latest one is regards to Steam tokens. So on May the 21st, um, there was a hard fork executed on the Steam platform where Justin Sun and friends decided to free some coins. But for some reason, some community 321, this hacker, uh, managed to hack those coins. So he found a code vulnerability, take coins that were being transferred by Justin Sun from other accounts. Like, so it really depends. Like, this is really hard to cover because if you use certain words, like, who stole the coins? Was it Justin Sun who stole these coins? Or was it the hacker who stole these coins and sent them to Bittrex? But if you want to take it from the hacker's perspective, Justin Sun stole these coins from the rest of the community and then try to funnel it. And then he hacked that account and sent it to Bittrex. I don't know. That's just like the most action I've seen for a while. And these coins are quite a lot. It's 23 million Steam. And I don't know. I'm just astonished by all this interaction that's happening here. So anyway, so he sent it to Bittrex, which I found a little bit bizarre. I think he thought that Bittrex could be a neutral party in this dispute. But now it seems to be the case that Bittrex is now puzzled. They're saying, you know what, we don't know what to do with it. Like they're actually literally puzzled by these tokens. So now it seems like that Bittrex founder says, and it seems to be the case that he might send them just back to Justin Sun. I don't know. This is the most messed up crap I've seen for a while, to be honest. Here, guys. Um, I don't know how to think about this. I think I kind of didn't care that much after Justin Sun bought the foundation. I'll be honest. That's when I said, you know what, Steam screwed up because the foundation's coins were meant for the community, and by Ned, the supposed caretaker of those funds, by him selling that to Justin Sun and giving Justin Sun a significant stake over the foundation. Yeah, that was when Steam died for me. But anyways, it's still kind of there's issues still plaguing crypto of what's happening, of what decentralization means in this case. And I think it's very clear that if a foundation holds those coins and they're able to sell it, then we have a problem. And this is something that will become, I think, a landmark case for the future about how particular controls needs to be implemented if there are foundations and the limitations of foundations as well. And I think that's going to be a big issue going forward. So anyway, so following the drama, it was fun to watch where those coins are going. It's just bouncing back and forth from Hacker to Bittrex to Justin Sun to Hacker. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous to say the least. But at the end of the day, we do know that Steam, the community itself forked to Hive. So if you want to check out Hive.io, and if you did have Steam before, you also own Hive. So you can just log into your Hive account and transfer that out, and you still have that currency. So just to kind of catch up with everything here, that's the case that's happening right now. We got Knee Patriot 77 asking, is BTC going to plummet? This is a great question. Like, what I see is that we're gonna be in this channel, but moving towards the end of this month, I can potentially see some form of action. And this is where the pressure is. There's a lot of people believing that it could plummet. Okay, so moving into the long-term view, it's on the top of the channel. If we don't break out of this channel, there is this viewpoint that we can fall back all the way down to 3K or 6K regions here where our next kind of support is. So we just have to be very careful of that. So just knowing that pressure here is quite important. In terms of the skew of things, okay, let me just very quickly take a look. Let's see. Aggregate day volume, open future interest. Where is the skew of futures to need to see? Okay, so if you look at the futures basis versus spot in here, just trying to find the balance of this. That's one thing I should definitely. Where is the skew between future? The balance between shorts and longs. Anyways, I don't immediately see that right here. So, we got Knee Patriot 77. Do we have hodlers here or traders only? Well, I think we have both. We're trying to I think it's inevitable that we have both. Generally speaking, for me personally here, I have a hodl that I don't touch and I haven't touched. But I also have a trade amount which is much smaller than the hodl, around 20% of the hodl amount, which I do trade. And right now I'm not actively trading, so that's the honest bit. Because I think we're moving in this channel. It's actually quite um it's quite dangerous right now to trade. I think especially after the halving. I think that was where I was like, okay, you face that sell pressure, but I don't really want to capitalize on it. So at this current point, I haven't really entered positions since the halving. That's my 2 cents on it. I feel like prior to the halving, I was entering positions that protect me against volatility, and those work very well. So the Bitcoin Move contracts, Bitcoin volatility indices that I was looking at, Move was where I was in more, and that was just to protect my position if something happens. So it just kind of reduced the amount of risk I have. But now, it's not going to be very volatile for, I think, for the foreseeable week, at least this week. We're still in that channel. We don't have that extreme volatility as of yet. And I don't see an immediate opportunity for now. So I'm eyeing the market. That's the current situation I'm at. I'm eyeing the market, but if there's not a good position, I don't take it. If there's no specific exact reason for me to take a position, I'm not going to aggressively pursue positions because that's one way to get into the gambling fix. Like that's the way. I mean, I think a lot of people have been talking about this massive sell-off, and then Unfortunately, it moved up. So people who were afraid of the sell-off during the halving, when the hype train ended, people were leverage going down. It could have been wiped up here, when we didn't go down. That's positivity. I'm actually good as a hodler. That's great for me. But I do know if people took positions there, that's not going to be good. So right now, I'm just kind of eyeing the market and moving forward. I mean, yeah. If there's no point over aggressively extending positions if we don't need to. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna do a few more questions of Q&A. We got second wave of Corona. I think, you know what, with the second wave of Corona, it actually happened on Hong Kong news quite a lot. Oh my God, we're gonna get the second wave. So, um, just to fill you out in, guys, here. So Hong Kong, we get very very few cases. We're reopening up Hong Kong. And like we had basically I think 3 cases in the last 3 weeks, which is barely anything, right? So it's almost like noise level of cases. And every time there's one single case, people are like, oh, second wave, second wave, second wave. And I have to be wary of that. I think mainstream media tends to overblow this a little bit, and that's understating it. Mainstream media needs that attention, and they really feel like, oh, we need to cover this every day, and this is something we explicitly avoid on this channel. I think it's completely unnecessary to cover issues when there is, if it's just one case, just be careful, trace their families, but there's no need to cause fear over it. And I see that going around everywhere. People saying, oh my God, second wave coming, breakout, boom, boom, boom. I'm just gonna be very careful of that news. I mean, if we wear masks, we're going to substantially reduce the amount of spread for this virus, and that's what's happening in Hong Kong. So for us, it's good. I know there's a lot of countries that don't wear masks, and they are under a risk of a second wave. In fact, the first wave isn't even over for a lot of countries, and a lot of countries are experiencing that for the first time, like Africa. I've been seeing issues where, yeah, Africa, there's mass spread events where, I think the recent one was a event where 600 people got the virus from one single super spreader. So there's gonna be those events, and at the end of the day, the take home is just to wear a mask. And unfortunately, you know, it's uncomfortable. It's unnecessary. People think it's unnecessary, but it does prevent spit and everything from going out. So if you guys are worried, just wear a mask and then just stop. Then just close the news. Just turn that off because there's not much that we actually need to go on the news for that. So I feel like there's just too much fear. We don't need to act on that, and I think we're gonna be better off with it. So, anyways, guys, I feel like that's kind of the wrapping it up and the end of the episode. What we're gonna do is the next stream we're gonna have here. Let me just put the video up here. We are going to be live in 2 days. So just set a reminder for that. That will be technically, it'll be in 3 days. All right. So technically, it will be, because YouTube, they simplify things, but you'll get the accurate time. So let me just actually change the time a little bit. So it's actually 11 a.m. So it's 11 a.m. for me in Hong Kong. And for you guys, you can just click on this, click the little set reminder button. And that will show you the accurate time for when these live streams are going to go up. So anyways, check that out, and set the time, set the reminder for that. That will get you up. And I hope you guys can stay healthy and stay positive this weekend. I think we're gonna just take a break from all this. That's what I'm gonna do at the very least. And I hope you guys have a great one. More videos are coming up. I'm doing the Ethereum 2.0 video. I finished recording that. That's gonna be fun. And also, I'm gonna do a little bit more recaps on different kind of projects happening at this time. I feel like this whole ecosystem, we're about to experience a boom. So if you guys have any kind of projects you want me to look at and suggest, we're first going to look at ETH, because ETH 2.0 is coming out, and then people are suggesting Cardano or VeChain or anything else. Yeah, hit me up, comments down below, smash up those likes, guys. I'll see you on the next stream. See you there. Abrupt ending.